abuse. Our next witness, Jean Meyer, I want to thank him for traveling yesterday across the Atlantic just to be here to present testimony. Chief of Staff Mark Malash and I met with Mr. Meyer in Brussels a few weeks ago, and we're absolutely convinced of the great work that he is doing on behalf of Coptic Christians. And he had a poster, and I wish I had blown it up for all to see, of all of these missing girls who have been abducted, that in most cases never to be seen again, forced into a marriage, and intimidated, coerced. And so I want to thank Mr. Maher for his leadership and for being here, for flying to be here. And I yield such time as he would like to consume for his testimony.
Mr. Chairman and member of the Commission, I would like to thank you to give me this opportunity to talk about this tragic Coptic girls kidnapping. And as you mentioned, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, this is the poster that with the 30 girls. I don't think they are a part of the 50 that you interviewed. These are probably other 30. This is circulating in the internet since 2008, and it was prepared by an English Coptic association. So these girls have been kidnapped, have been raped, have been forced to convert to Islam, have been forced to marry, and disappeared. You know, the number of crimes are huge. Each one is just alone a huge crime. I also had some official documents I got from the Human Rights Association in Egypt. It's one page, one girl. And you can see, you know, a photo of a beautiful girl, and then after she has been kidnapped, you see other photos with the veil. This is a certificate from Al-Azhar mosque saying that she had been converted to Islam. And almost on the same day or a few days later, you find a statement saying that she got married from a street man. So I have many of these beautiful girls who have been veiled and disappeared. One of them here escaped, and she escaped without her hair. Her hair was just taken away, and she is 19 years old, student in the university, and she said she was being raped. So these are just samples of parents who went to the Human Rights Organization to complain, and they know and they told that as a reward, the kidnappers and their accomplices are paid, probably financed by Saudis and Gulf countries' money. And they said that one Coptic girl is equivalent to $10,000 to $50,000. So you can see how attractive is the business. Few girls have succeeded to escape, and they tell their horrible experience. As an example, I took NG Adel witnessing, which is circulating since about 3 weeks on the net in an Arabic-speaking video. Angie was 12 when she was kidnapped. Today she's 16. This is what she said. I went out from my school and was followed by some young people. They pushed me in a taxi and used the vaporizer, so I lost conscience. And when I woke up, I found myself in an apartment. A lady with two other girls introduced me to a man named Sultan. He took me in a room, tied my arms on my back, and raped me. 4 other men raped me, one after one. Each one seemed to have the desire to cut my body in pieces as if I was his enemy and hates me. It's terrible when you see the girl talking. For 1 month I was beaten and had a lot of blue marks. I was unable to eat, drink, or sleep. All they wanted was to give me drugs and rape me. For 2 consecutive days, 5 men stayed in the room and raped me. I was awake, unable to sleep 24 hours a day. She continued crying. More than 50 men during this month have raped me. Then my father succeeded in finding me and I came back home. The police security asked me to come for interrogation. The officer only beat me so hard with his feet in my stomach and my back, pulled me from my hair and treated me as a street girl. They wanted to force me to say that I left my family by my own will. And nothing of these stories happened. I was only 12 when this happened. Why all this? Only because I'm a Christian? And then continued crying. Now everybody around me thinks I'm a bad girl. The father said on the video, I succeeded to get her back alone. The police have done nothing, was of no help, and they do not have the right to beat her. She has done no fault. This is an example of one girl. Now, there is another example in the testimony of a mother that I met her personally by chance 2 years ago in Egypt. She knew that a French couple will attend a meeting, so she came to see us and she told her story. She gave me her daughter photo, abducted in 2007 at the age of 19. She wrote on the back the names of her abductor and her Islamist husband. This is what happened. On the last day of the faculty exams, she went to a restaurant where her Muslim girlfriend offered her a pizza and a Coke. She felt dizzy and called her parents, telling them she's coming back home because she's sick. She never came back. Despite the death threats of the police and the police phone tapping, his courageous mother traced and found the names of his Islamist husband, her Islamist abductors. One of them was registered as a terrorist in the security files. She complained, of course, to the police, wrote to the Interior Minister and former President Mubarak. After the revolution, she went to the Military Council and the Prime Minister. As an answer to all that, she had always received silence. When she tried to see Mrs. Suzanne Mubarak, one of the presidential guards told her, if your daughter is in the hand of these people, forget about her. Her daughter is now wearing the niqab, living in drugs. She was continuing her studies at the university. She was lately seen beaten in the street because she dared trying to answer her mother's phone call. She seems convinced her parents will be killed if she tries to escape. All the names of the perpetrators, the complicit police officers, the complicit university Islamist professors are available. The parents keep hoping to see again their daughter. Before meeting this lady 2 years ago, I was not aware of this type of struggle in Egypt. Living in France, I preferred not to be involved in Egyptian or Coptic contacts, limiting this type of activity to conferences, radio interviews on the Coptic pharaonic background culture. This heartbroken lady led me to different personal commitments. There is a methods people are using to reach their targets, as we say in methodology. These barbaric acts are executed according to a well-elaborated methodology by people who want to gain money or by people convinced to be doing good for Allah by bringing a kafir, infidel woman to Islam. The number of Copts will therefore decrease, the number of Muslims will increase, since by law the children will follow the religion of the father. Since the Oriental culture, in the Oriental culture, taking away a girl virginity means taking away the whole family's honor. So the plan aims to either kidnapping or sexually compromising Christian girls by defiling, humiliating them. And the psychological effect on the girl is becoming a shame to her family, and conversion to Islam becomes a solution to the problems. So besides the girl who loses her will, the family is covered by shame, condemned by their social environment, the Muslims claiming the girl came by her own will, and some of the Christians reproaching not having taken enough care of their daughter. A process leading to humiliation of the Coptic community as a whole in front of the supremacy of Islam. In a newspaper interview, a Muslim researcher, Mr. Ayman Abdul Rasul, asserted of the complicity of the security police. He designated as the main instigator Imam Abu Islam Ahmad Abdullah, known as Abu Islam, acting through an association called Nur al-Islam, the light of Islam. He revealed that the girls are gathered in one building apartments in Cairo suburb. He also gave a list of Islamic associations specialized in dragging the Coptic girls using internet, money, employment, and other means. And he stressed that these associations have the security support and the security cover-up. He gave the list just as a record: Ansar al-Sunnah al-Muhammadiyya, winners of Muhammad Sunnah Association; al-Shari'iyya, the legitimate association, a radical Salafist one; Nur al-Islam, the light of Islam association, and many others. Information from other sources gives the methods used in 4 steps. 1. Grouping 9 minor girls between 12 and 17 years old in one apartment where they are drugged, brainwashed, and probably raped. 2. Keep them up to the majority age of 18, where they are brought to Al-Azhar Mosque to convert to Islam. They immediately obtain the ID mentioning the religion as Muslim instead of Christian, and the name is changed using a Muslim name. Note that the opposite way is impossible. 3. Bring young boys or men or old men and force them to marry one of them. 4. Keep the girl away from her family. Maintain the doubt on the Christian doctrine. God cannot marry and has no son. Inculcate terror and fear that she is a shame to her family, who will kill her if she returns. And anyway, since she has become a Muslim, she can't go back to Christianity, or she be killed according to Sharia law. 4 steps, methods, horrors. Now, what statistics? How many girls? There are hundreds. I just mentioned what have been monitored and recorded. The Egyptian Union for Human Rights Organization monitored 800 cases since 2009. Egypt for Christ monitored 45 cases under 18 years since January Revolution. They have 275 cases known between 2005 and 2010 under 18, 275 cases known under 18, and 400 cases over 18. Now, is this just a work of some small radical people? No. This is a part of a huge plan. Probably. And it's not a false alarm. It's a preparation to a Coptic genocide. Within the Islamic nation, Egypt is the only Muslim country to have an important number of Christians, with around, at least as Patriarch Shenouda said, at least around 12 million Copts. We will not talk about the number of converted Muslims, and they are just hidden. Some people talk about 1 to 2 million. So these Copts still maintain some of the pharaonic civilizations through their everyday customs, through their Coptic language, the Coptic language which is the last version of the pharaonic hieroglyphics. The Copts represent an obstacle to the radical Islamists who are dreaming to establish the great worldwide Islamic Caliphate nation. Strategic plans are set to get rid of them slowly but firmly by different means. Disappearance of minor Coptic girls and women is just one of their horrible means. In Iraq already, out of more than 1 million Christians a few years ago, only 300,000 to 400,000 are left. Will this happen to Egypt? After Alexandria church bombing at the 2011 New Year's Eve, following the Baghdad church bombing, French President Nicolas Sarkozy gave a speech on the 7th of January. He denounced a religious extermination plan to get rid of the Middle East Christians. He mentioned that France will not tolerate such a plan. On March 5th, after the revolution, Mr. Patrick Devedjian, Member of Parliament, former minister, was invited as a guest speaker to one of our conferences on Egypt's revolution. A son of Armenian parents who ran away from the Turkish genocide, he recalled the context of the euphoric Turkish revolution in 1908, seeking freedom, democracy. He said was euphoric as it is in the Egypt today. They were claiming secular country away from the religious Ottoman power. Only 7 years later, 1915, around 1.2 million Armenians, the 2/3 of them, were exterminated. And he wished to ask the Copts that because of today's media, because of today's fast communication, this will prevent such a scenario to the Copts of Egypt. What is the international community role? A US or International Human Rights Investigation Commission is absolutely necessary to examine the events freely. I know that in the European Parliament, the idea is going through, and maybe if the Commission here takes the same decision, maybe a coordinated work could be set with the European Parliament. To pressure the Military Council to take actions, as was mentioned before, with a precise time plan, and you should expect the answer is just that these are only individual love stories where a Coptic girl wants to follow her Muslim lover. And then pressure Saudi Arabia and the Gulf countries to stop financing these terrorist acts. As a conclusion, I have a message and a request. The message: the Muslim Brotherhoods will never change or leave their objective of restoring the Islamic Caliphate. Their foundation is Allah is our target, the Prophet is our model, the Quran is our law, the Holy War is our way, the martyrdom is our wish. These are the fundamentals and the basics of the Muslim Brotherhoods. They will not change them. They will not leave their objective of restoring the Islamic Caliphate. They are only changing tactics. They are adapting their language to democracy and to the Western ears. The early parliamentary election that were planned in September, now because of the young revolutionaries' pressure on the council, on the military council, have been reported to November. If they are held either in September or in November, they will bring the Muslim Brotherhoods to power. Why? Because for the last 30 years, Mubarak regime and his surroundings were just interested in staying in their chair, in their power, and they left the society in the hands of these people. So the Egyptian society is invested by a culture of hate. And as an example, one child, 8 years old, said to his Christian friend, "Yesterday was my birthday. I invited all my friends except you because you are Christian." These are the education of the professors for the 8 years old. In my time, when I had this age, we had no such things. And all my friends are Muslims. When I go to Egypt, I don't even have now Christian friends, but my faculty are Muslim friends, and they are very good ones. And we never lived such a hate situation. So an early parliamentary election will not represent the real democratic demands. I can say early election is just undemocratic, and they will be very similar to what happened in Gaza. They were 100% democratic. They were controlled by international commission, and they brought Hamas. So democracy brings, when the country is not ready, she brings what is left. So what is in Egypt now is the Muslim Brotherhood. What is required is a constitutional framework that must be prepared first. So we urge the Commission, we urge the US Congress to take that into consideration. Now, this is a message. I have now a request to President Obama. The US Middle East policy should encourage the Muslim liberals. They are also Muslims. They should not favor handing over Egypt to the Muslim Brotherhoods. There is a huge difference between Muslims, Muslim Brotherhoods who are behind Al-Qaeda, who are behind the 9/11. Number 2 of Al-Qaeda, Al-Zawahiri, is a medical doctor who was involved in Sadat assassination. He was the mastermind of the 9/11. Bin Laden had only the financing. The leader of the 9/11, of the 20 people, Muhammad Atta, a PhD engineer from Germany, he was the leader of the 20 people in the different planes. He was Egyptian engineer. These people are coming from Muslim Brotherhoods. Consequences of getting Muslim Brotherhoods on the power of Egypt will be huge, and they are not in the interest of the American people. The second request was also mentioned before. A US financing aid to Egypt must be conditioned by a real democratic process according to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and not according to the Sharia Islamic law, as Muslim Brotherhoods are claiming. Actions are needed now before it's too late. Thank you.
Mr. Maher, thank you very much. Thank you very much, and thanks to Ms. Dawson and Ms. Clark as well. It's very, very moving to hear your testimony. For those of us joining us on C-SPAN, I'll say that Chairman Smith and the other commissioners have left to vote because this hearing is so important, and we have C-SPAN here live. We're going to continue the proceedings. The chairman, and by the way, my name is Mark Malash. I'm the Chief of Staff of the Helsinki Commission. I'm here right now with Shelley Hahn, who is on Commission staff, and Alison Hollabaugh, who is on Mr. Smith's personal office staff, an expert on trafficking issues. So we'll proceed with some questions that the chairman has left us. The first question I have is, have any Muslim leaders in Egypt condemned the kidnapping, forced marriage, forced conversion of Coptic Christian girls? Has anyone spoken out against this?
I have...
Any of you?
Oh, I have only the one who mentioned the name I gave, just the name I gave, who mentioned these associations and recognized that this is happened and it is a part of a plan. So I only have one courageous Muslim man who is talking about it. Most of what I have seen on the TV and what I have read in the newspapers are just trying to transform these events into a love story, and that the girls just left by their own will. Even Coptics, I heard they said it's a false problem because they have been also influenced by the media and by the newspapers they read. So what is really known is limited to the Christian people.
Thank you.